All right, let's get into a little bit of X's and O's, because when you do talk about Francis and you talk about Fury, we don't have a great frame of reference, right? We think we know everything, but guys, we do that all the time. Remember the 20 years where it was proven that karate doesn't work? It just doesn't work. Forget about karate. Unless Lyoto Machida's doing it, unless Wonderboy Thompson is doing it, right? You get reminded of these things. Remember the days where, hey, we know how effective jiu-jitsu is, but a good basic understanding. We had guys coming out saying if you had 6 months of jiu-jitsu, that's enough for MMA. And we believed it. We've established it, right? The sport changes and we're smart and we follow it closely, and here we are. And then a guy named Damian Maia comes along and reminds you, no, not if you do it right. And so I just share some of these concepts that we think that we know. We really haven't seen enough of it. I mean, we really haven't. This idea that MMA guys are so much better than boxers, or boxers in striking are so much better than MMA guys, like, logically, it seems to add up. Logically, it appears to make a level of sense. But I don't think you have a body of work to reference. Journalism 101, I am not a journalist, by the way, but Journalism 101, I most definitely do follow this principle. Cite your source. When I come to people and I break down a fight, I will give them a historical reference as to how and why I've come to that conclusion. And I will hope that they will then return that to me. And if they can't, I'm now in a bit of a dull conversation that I would rather not be part of. And I just don't believe that you have a body of work to reference. I don't believe you've been in the gym. I don't believe that you've seen footage of Francis boxing. And if we were to take another MMA versus boxing, Conor McGregor did much better than anyone had perceived. I don't know off the top of my head what that fight went off at. I'm talking about the odds. Conor had no shot, right? He got no chance. But great thing on the greatest ever. He's never done it before. It's one of these things. And the odds reflected that. At one point, that fight hit 14-1. It didn't go, it closed. Ireland came in, they put their money down. It closed. But I think it was 11. I think it was, at the top of my head, it was 11. I know it was 7. Right? Big spread. It's a big spread. That's not what we saw. Conor McGregor kicked Floyd's ass. Now, he got his ass kicked right back. Conor McGregor kicked his. Conor McGregor won so many rounds. I sat with Teddy Atlas, who gave Conor 4 rounds. Now, the judges in Nevada gave him 0. And I'm just bringing this to your attention because what we learned there and what we did see, speaking of those angles, but there's also a much faster start by an MMA guy. There's a much faster start to get to the action. So if one guy's going 100% and the other guy's going 70%, the other guy's in sparring mode, all of a sudden your skills and your experience, like, that's just something that can really change that gap, at least for those moments. And we don't know how Tyson is going to start, right? You guys, you've watched boxing, you've heard the announcers come in and cover the action because it's painfully boring, and they'll say they're feeling each other out. They're not feeling, just so you understand, they're not feeling each other out. The human body is not made to go for 36 minutes, and they got them scheduled for 12 rounds. So the guys have an unwritten agreement to come out there and burn 6 rounds. And now we can go out and do something that a human can actually do. That's what you're seeing in boxing. But either way, and regardless of the reason, boxers still do get used to starting slow. They do get used to coming out and kind of checking to see where that guy's at. And I'm just bringing that to you. If Francis comes out and he starts like a storm, and Fury's not doing that, that's where the opportunity comes to land some of those shots. I know how unlikely this is, guys. But if we only are as good as the evidence that we have to look at Floyd and Conor. We have to acknowledge how well Conor did against the expectation. And we also saw that size matters. Now, this is something that I think lends strongly towards Tyson. Conor was able to show us as he did Big Brother, and he did grab in the clinches, and he did pull at times, he was able to show us that size is relevant. That is just simply not a case here. Tyson is a very big man. They faced these guys off to some degree. Tyson was a little bit taller than him. This is just off the top of my head. Every bit, pound for pound. Their bodies might be made different, but I think that you understand my point. That's not something that we can take from Conor versus Floyd and apply reasonably with an expectation to this match. So it does matter. Very much so. It does matter on the preparation. Very much so. It does matter on the approach. I think that Tyson Fury should come out early and go to his best stuff. I think that Tyson Fury, while his record might not reflect all the knockouts, I think he's a real knockout fighter. He fights a little bit of a different style. You're going to find more technical knockouts, likely. I haven't actually looked at his record, but I think you'll find more times the referee stepped in and said, hey, look, we're done here. You've beaten this guy enough. Then where the guy actually goes down and you can count to 10. He throws a lot of punches, but he's doing that against really good guys with really good defense, not against a guy who's never done this before, who's got a bum knee, and who's at least 37 years old. It's a very different situation, but it's still one that has to be taken with a real respect, and we don't know that, guys. We do not know what Tyson's approach is going to be, what kind of urgency he's going to have, how fast he's going to start this fight. But we can have a full confidence that Francis is going to start the fight as soon as that bell rings. It is the most lopsided sporting event in the history of my life. It is the Lakers versus the Patriots under football rules. It's silly. Talk about it's for the baddest man on the planet. Okay, does the winner then take on Gordon Ryan? Does the winner of that then take on Kyle Schneider? Does the winner of that then take on Simone Biles? If we're just going to the best in different grades, one of these things, it's very bizarre. But it is easier to believe that Francis could win than it is to bet on the idea that he could get the match in the first place, and he did.